What if Anakin arrived to Palpatine's office after Palpatine had already killed all of the Jedi, including Mace Windu? That's what we're going to go over today. Hope you guys enjoy. I did just move into a new room, so I wonder if acoustics or sound sounds any better or worse. Hopefully it sounds better. Anyways, let's get right into it. Our story begins with Anakin flying through the Coruscant capital city. His speeder shrieked through the rain, screaming past skyscrapers so fast that his speeder cracked windows as he passed by them. He didn't understand why people didn't just get out of his way. He didn't understand how the trillion beings who jammed the city could go about their trivial business through the universe hadn't changed. How could they think they counted for anything compared with him? None of them had any idea just how important Anakin's life had become. As ahead of Anakin, on the vast cliff space of the Senate office building, one window spat lightning into the rain to echo the lightning of the storm outside. But this lightning was the color of clashing lightsabers. Green fans, sheets of purple, crimson flame. He was too late. Suddenly, the green fire faded and winked out, and now the lighting was only purple and red. Anakin's repulsor lifts howled as he heeled to the speeder up on its side, skidding through the turbulence from the wind to bring it to a halt just outside of the window of Palpatine's private office. Anakin squinted his eyes through the rain as he brought his eyes into focus to see bodies on the floor. Bodies on the floor of the office, bodies in Jedi robes. And on Palpatine's desk lay the head of Kit Fisto, face up, scalp tentacles unbound in a squid tangle across the floor. His lidless eyes stared blindly at the ceiling. Anakin remembered Kit through the years, the gentle, kind, strong Jedi, now reduced to this messy death. And Anakin Kolar lay dead with a stab wound through his heart. His eyes, though dead, still wore a look of fear and surprise. And Sazy Tin, perhaps the only Jedi that could keep up with Anakin as a pilot, was cut into two halves, tossed away like garbage. And as Anakin stared at these bodies, he realized Palpatine did this. And he wondered how a man of such violence could truly offer the warm promises of saving Padme. As Anakin stared at the dead Jedi in shock, Windu and Palpatine continued their fight in the other room. Windu and Palpatine staring at each other with hatred showing in both of their eyes. Windu was here to protect and save the Republic, while Palpatine was determined to kill Windu and then officially kill the Republic. An empire would take its place. The two of them continued their fight, lightsabers clashing against each other, red versus purple. They were like a blur against each other, but Mace was slowly beginning to lose. As he locked lightsabers with Palpatine, the Sith Lord pulled one hand away, shooting lightning into his leg, and Mace fell to one knee. As he slowly stood back up, staggering now, Sidious cut through his lightsaber hand, then spun around to cut off his opposite arm at the elbow. Sidious continued his movement, slashing through the electrocuted leg, and then finishing Mace with a final stab in the gut. Mace fell to both knees, missing his arms as he stared at the entrance to the room. He'd failed. But before his vision completely went dark, he saw someone else enter the room. Anakin. Mace gave himself a final second of strength to say, "You are the chosen one, Skywalker," then crumpled into a dead heap on the ground. And now Anakin was alone, staring at Palpatine. He'd come here to save Palpatine's life, but as it turns out, Palpatine needed no help at all. And now Anakin could see through Palpatine's facade that he'd put on for decades. He had always shown himself as this soft, warm, welcoming, older man. His presence was always calming, and Anakin had embraced it, as it was what he needed throughout his entire life. But now, Anakin was seeing the truth. This was the real Palpatine. Not the man that welcomed Anakin to Coruscant, not the man that was like a father or a counselor to Anakin throughout the war and throughout his life as a Jedi. Not the man that told Anakin the Jedi were trying to take over. No, this was a violent, terrible, evil man. He beheaded Kit Fisto, gutted Anakin Kolar, sliced Sazy Tin in half, and now dismembered Windu before killing him. And Anakin could feel the power, the darkness, the evil radiating from Palpatine in this moment in the dark side. And again, Anakin had to ask himself a simple question. Could this violent, evil man truly care about Padme? Or even about him? No, of course not. Palpatine showed his true colors here today, and now Anakin must show who he truly is. The Chosen One. And so, he ignited his lightsaber. As Anakin ignited his saber, Palpatine realized his mistake. He went too far. He finally got to unleash his darkness after years of inner hatred, waiting for this day. He wanted to do this to the Jedi for so long, and now he knew that the ideal scenario would have been for Anakin to enter, to find Palpatine tucked in a corner, fending off against Windu. He should have made it look like he was the helpless one, not the Jedi. He should have made Anakin think the Jedi were truly trying to take over. Instead, he unleashed his full power, and Anakin was now approaching him with a truly determined look in his eyes. Sidious stood now with his crimson lightsaber, and he readied himself for yet another fight. He was tired, but he would fight off Anakin. Perhaps Anakin was in need of a lesson from a true Sith Lord. He would show Anakin his power, and Anakin would either join him or die. And the fight began. The room trembled with the intensity of the lightsaber duel between Anakin Skywalker and Darth Sidious. Sparks flew as the two combatants clashed, their emotions fueling the clash of blades against each other. Anakin's strikes were fueled by grief, his determination to avenge the Jedi, but also understanding that Palpatine is not the answer for Padme. He would save his own wife. In every swing, Sidious reveled in the darkness, using the Force to augment his speed and precision. And the battle raged on, Anakin's inner turmoil reaching a breaking point, and Sidious, sensing the remaining conflict within Anakin, taunted him with promises of unlimited power. He said, "Embrace the dark side. Together, Anakin, we can rule the galaxy as master and apprentice. Save Padme from certain death. Bring peace to the galaxy." Sidious hissed between parries. Anakin's mind wavered between the teachings of the Jedi and these seductive whispers of the Sith. The room flickered with the struggle between the light and dark sides of the Force. But in a surge of emotion, Anakin didn't choose Jedi or Sith. He chose to fight for himself, and unleashed a torrent of aggressive strikes, pushing Sidious back. This sudden shift in power shocked Sidious, and he was pushed back to the now broken window. Anakin yelled at him, saying, "I trusted you, and I see through the lies of the Sith. You used me, and you used my wife." And Anakin charged forward, using an extremely powerful set of moves. And the conflict reached its peak, as Anakin, consumed by anger, disarmed Sidious, having him at his mercy. The room pulsed with the tension of the moment. Anakin's breaths were heavy as he stared down at the fallen Sith Lord, contemplating the irreversible choices before him. Sidious, however, cunningly exploited the situation. In a desperate move, he put his hands up, telling Anakin to arrest him, that he was unarmed, and he told Anakin that he never intended to hurt him. Anakin relaxed for just one moment, giving Sidious the opportunity he needed to blast Anakin with lightning, throw him out of the window. Now fully exhausted, the Sith Lord got up and walked to his communicator. Anakin was thrown out of the room. He would no longer be a problem. He decided not to join him, and so he paid. Like the other Jedi, Anakin would just be like the rest of them. He was gone. Sidious would do what he must. Jedi around the galaxy would die. The temple would fall. He had people in the temple already that would be joining his side. He had no issue. Anakin would have been great, but without him, he would adjust. He always adjusted. So he took a moment to recover in front of his communicator, then switched it on, preparing to give an order to the Grand Army of the Republic. He would first call a handful of selected commanders to ensure the deaths of some of the elite Jedi, such as Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, and others that were on the council. Then he would send out the galactic message to the rest of the clones. First, a special message for Commander Cody to defeat Obi-Wan Kenobi. But outside of the office, on the slanted roof of the building, Anakin Skywalker was still hanging on. He landed on the side, and just before slipping to the ground, he dug his saber into the roof, managing to slow his fall. Now, Anakin was gripping a satellite dish with his robotic hand as the rain poured down on him harder and harder. He was soaking wet. He could barely see Palpatine now in the distance, getting to his communicator. Anakin could see inside the window, and he knew something was going on. He knew he had to get back in there. So he closed his eyes, and with a scream, Anakin climbed back up to his feet, sprinting back at Palpatine. He ran along the slanted roof, and then used his remaining strength to jump through the air, spinning and igniting his lightsaber in one great motion. Palpatine saw Commander Cody show up on the communicator and said, "Commander Cody, the time has come. Execute Order 60. But he was cut off as a blue lightsaber cut through his torso. Palpatine tried to get the word 66 out of his mouth, but he couldn't do it. He turned his head just enough to see Anakin, and then his torso slipped off of his legs, and he died on the ground, moments before his grand plan was put into place. Anakin looked to Cody now, and Cody removed his helmet, revealing an expression of shock, uncertainty, and fear. Cody asked Anakin what he just did, and Anakin said that the Chancellor had committed treason against the Republic, and now Anakin said that he, as the personal representative of the Chancellor, was in direct control of the Grand Army of the Republic, and so he told Cody to get Obi-Wan down here immediately. On Utapau, Cody looked to Obi-Wan as he climbed the side of the rocky wall, and called him on his comlink, saying Anakin has an urgent message down on the surface. Obi-Wan turned back down to Cody, made his way back, and took over communications with Anakin. Obi-Wan was happy to see his friend and former student, and he greeted Anakin with a smile, telling Anakin that Grievous is gone. But he noticed Anakin wasn't smiling. Instead, he carried a look of despair. Obi-Wan knew that the Jedi planned to make some sort of move on Palpatine, but he had no idea things would be taken to this level. Anakin told him everything. How Palpatine revealed himself, how Anakin told Windu, and how Anakin found the Jedi completely destroyed by Palpatine himself. And so, he killed the Chancellor. Those words left Anakin and Obi-Wan in silence. He killed the Chancellor. Obi-Wan told Anakin he would be returning to Coruscant with the rest of the Council immediately. He would call the Council, and he would tell them everything, and the call was ended. Anakin went on and returned to the Council chambers, and he waited for what felt like forever. And the longer he waited, the more stressed he became. What had he done? Did he just risk losing Padme forever? The stress was eating him alive. But finally, the Council door swung open. It was Shaak Ti. But behind her was someone else. Padme. What was she doing here? Shaak Ti said that Padme requested to speak with the Jedi representative of the Chancellor, which was Anakin, and then Shaak Ti left them alone. Once she was gone, Anakin felt the stress leave him as he hugged Padme in a warm embrace he would have given anything for. Padme, though, could tell something was very wrong, so she asked what it was, and Anakin told her everything. Once Padme heard it all and learned the truth about Palpatine, she actually let out a breath of relief, rather than being concerned. With a smile, she told Anakin he did the right thing, and she continued on, saying Palpatine had control over the Senate and the courts. No matter what the good senators tried, he would always be getting in the way of things. They'd tried to end the war previously, but he was stubborn. But now, they would be able to end this war without Palpatine's interference. Padme and Anakin shared a warm embrace for another long moment, and then Padme went to meet with the senators in charge of the Loyalist Committee as they prepared to tell the Senate that the war would be coming to an end now that they know the truth about Palpatine. And she asked Anakin and the Jedi to gather any evidence he can with the rest of the Council. Padme left, and after a while the Jedi Council would get into session. Once again, Anakin described the entire series of events that led up to Palpatine's death. The Council was of course very saddened by the deaths of Kit Fisto, Agen Kolar, Saesee Tiin, and Mace Windu. Their seats were left open, and Anakin had taken the time to place their lightsabers on each seat. Once Anakin described everything again, Yoda said they will have a lot of senators on their side, and the rest of the senators, the corrupt ones that is, will do whatever they must to keep their seats. If the Jedi and good senators describe the events and put a new Chancellor or new order into place, then the rest of the senators will simply fall into place. Eventually, Anakin received a message that the Senate was gathering for an emergency hearing, and so the Jedi sent a group of Yoda, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Plo Koon to the Senate building to share the Jedi side of the story. In this meeting, Anakin once again described everything and held up Palpatine's lightsaber, igniting the crimson red. Then the Jedi pod played the recording from Palpatine's office that recorded Anakin and Palpatine talking during their duel. The dialogue from Palpatine was clear as day as he said, "Embrace the dark side, Anakin. Together we can rule the galaxy as master and apprentice. Save Padme from certain death. Bring peace to the galaxy." The Jedi looked at Anakin as Padme's name was said in the recording, but that was an issue for later on. For now, the Senate had the proof. Palpatine was working against them to raise an empire. Bail Organa spoke now, telling the senators they must come together as one to prove that the Republic would not fall so easily. There would be no replacement chancellor for now, and instead the senators would vote together to end this war. On Mustafar, the Separatist leaders went days without hearing from their leader, Darth Sidious, and eventually they learned he was Chancellor Palpatine, meaning he was dead. Grievous was also dead. Dooku was dead. So they surrendered to the Republic, officially marking the end of the war. And days later, Padme Amidala would go into labor, and she would survive childbirth. The Jedi Council was now fully aware of Anakin and Padme's relationship, but they decided against removing Anakin from the Order. Despite having these attachments, Anakin did what was required of him to bring peace to the galaxy, defeating the Sith once and for all. So Anakin would stay in the Order, and he was made a master on the Jedi Council. Padme would leave the Senate for now. The weight of childbirth, along with being a senator from the planet that Palpatine came from, was just too much to balance, and so she left with the children for Naboo, where Anakin would join her very often as mother and father of Luke and Leia, who would be trained as Jedi in time with the help of Anakin. And folks, that is our story for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is one I've wanted to do for kind of a while, but I, wasn't sure what path to take with Anakin. But reading the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, Anakin actually does see the cut-off head of Kit Fisto, so I wanted to really embrace that and just have him really see the violence of the Sith, the violence of Palpatine, and upon seeing this violence, seeing these first 3 Jedi completely dead, I wanted him to then go in and see Mace Windu get completely just decimated. Sorry to Windu, I know he, was supposed to win this fight against Sidious, but I thought the only way to have Anakin kind of fight against Sidious was to have him see just the damage, the destruction, the evil that Palpatine truly was. Because in the movie, we see Palpatine pretty helpless, pretty, he's like, "Anakin, I'm too weak, help, the Jedi are taking over." How about that impression? Anyways, yeah, I wanted to kind of switch that around and just have the Jedi be helpless and Anakin kind of go, "Ew, how's this guy gonna, I'm really trusting this guy to have the warmth to actually care about my wife? Heck no." And he attacks him, does what's necessary. Order 66 is stopped, as is being said. Let me know what you thought. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next video.